was the last time that you've been happy at work? I mean, like really happy, not just fake happy, not the slap on the smiley face happy, but really, really happy. Has it been a while, you know? And if it has been a while, what are you feeling? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling burnt out, unappreciated, undervalued? Do you feel like you're just mentally exhausted? My name is Pamela. I live outside the Philadelphia region. I've been in corporate, I was in corporate America 20 years, 17 years at my last job. And I'm going to tell you what I was feeling by the time I left. And it was really a combination of all those things. It didn't start off that way, and it probably didn't start off that way with you. Most people think that once you land a job in corporate, oh man, you've got it made. You've got it made. You've got the corner office, right? You've got the great benefits. You get to travel for work. You are working your way up to being executive level, all of those things. And you probably felt that, it was full of optimism and hope when you first started your corporate job. I know I was. I know it's like, oh, corporate is the dream. Once you get to corporate, you got it made. You can, the sky's the limit. The world is your oyster, all that kind of good stuff. And for the first few years, I was pretty damn happy. I was going to set the world on fire. And actually, I kind of did. I overachieved all of my sales objectives. I was in advertising sales. I was ended up being promoted to a senior account executive. I was at my last job for 17 years. And at first, I loved everything about it. I had an expense account, which I'd never really had before. I had an assistant to help me. She wasn't my personal assistant. I shared her with some people, but I made sure I treated her damn good, took her out to lunch, bought presents for her when I went on vacation, when I did work travel, and I, took care of her as if she were my own personal assistant. I did all of the things. I worked my way up. Each year, I overachieved my sales goals, each and every year. We had a fairly big department. Sales was everything, as it is in any company. In any company, sales is at the backbone of the success of the company. I don't care where you are. And, it's kind of funny because salespeople have a reputation. You either hate them or love them. And a lot of times in corporate, people who aren't in sales, they are secretly jealous of the salespeople because they see them driving nice cars and they know that they make the money and they know that they're the ones that are, setting the tone of the company in some ways. They're responsible for everyone else's jobs. If the sales aren't there, neither are the jobs. But the actual truth is, and I guess it depends on where you work, it's not that way. And it wasn't too long before the shine came off of what looked like gold was brass or bronze or something like that, right? And so after, I don't know, maybe my first 10 years there, like the last, 5 to 7 years, I guess it was right after 2020, even 2020, right before 2020, I was getting burnt out. I was extremely burnt out in 2019. And then when 2020 happened, everything changed. And then I liked my job again. And the reason I liked it was because I was able to work from home. We ended up working from home for 2 years. I traveled a shit ton. I traveled so much. I traveled so much that there were times that I would wake up in the morning in my hotel room and I wasn't exactly sure what town I was in. I knew I was in what state I was in. I remember one time I was in Ohio for an entire week, but I was in a different hotel each night, and I always stayed in Marriott's. And so all the rooms look alike, right? And I woke up and I had to stop for a second and think, where am I today? I knew I was in Ohio. I couldn't remember the town. It took me a hot minute to figure it out. And then I remembered who I was going to see that day and so forth and so on. That's the amount of traveling I did. I hated every minute of travel. Do you get that? Do you have to travel in your corporate job? People think on the outside, like my friends, people in the company that weren't in sales, that didn't have to travel, they thought, oh man, you get to travel. That's great. You know, how glamorous. You get to go to LA, you get to go to Florida, you get to go to Vegas, you get to go blah, blah, blah. Well, they weren't thinking about the times I went to Dumbfuckville, for lack of a better word. And they weren't thinking about, because they had no way of knowing. I just said, yeah, it's not what it's cracked up to be. Let's set it that way. Travel is work. I was working. There was nothing glamorous about it. Nothing glamorous. I saw the inside of the airport, the inside of the airplane, the inside of my rental car, the inside of my customer's office, the inside of my hotel room. And other than that, I saw the freeway. That was it. At night, was I going out to fancy ass dinners? No. I was a woman traveling on my own. I wasn't going anywhere. Before 2020, I would sometimes go down to the restaurant and have dinner and everything, or I would order room service, and people think, oh, room service is very glamorous too. No, especially after 2020, because after 2020, gone were real silverware, real flatware, metal. It was plastic. Gone were tablecloths. No, you didn't get anything. Gone were china plates or even a china cup for your coffee in the morning. You had a paper cup. Your dinner was delivered in styrofoam with paper napkins and plastic utensils. Nothing glamorous. It sucked. It really sucked. But I didn't want to go downstairs because I was a woman traveling alone. At this point, I'd grown a little wary of that. And I sure as hell wasn't going to get in a car and drive someplace. Yada, yada, yada. If you travel, you know what it's like. Corporate is hard. But during 2020 and 2021, when I wasn't traveling, nobody in the whole company was traveling for almost 2 full years, I kind of liked my job again because I was working 100% from home. We all were. Everybody was working from home then. My company was very conservative when it came to that. Other companies were right back in the office, or at least partially. We weren't. Then when we had to go back in the office, even to begin with, it wasn't that bad. We were only in there for 1 day a week. And then the traveling started up again. And then we got new bosses, and we got new policies, and we got new responsibilities. And the next thing you know, I was back to where I was before 2020. And I was getting burned out. I was getting stressed out. Meanwhile, I was a high producer. I was the second highest producer rep in the company. And I wasn't feeling appreciated. I wasn't valued. I was respected enough to have me do all of this crap, taking on new responsibilities. They totally changed their job description to a big degree. They got rid of one entire sales department for we had trade shows, and then they put that on us. And we weren't trained how to sell trade shows. It was a completely different type of selling than the advertising selling that we were doing. But you know what? I took it as a challenge, and I was excited to do something new, and I launched onto it, and I did a damn good job. I set sales records. I set records that to this day nobody has met, and I did it year after year after year. Meanwhile, I was seeking a promotion. At this point, I was a senior account executive, and I wanted to be promoted to VP. And there were other people in the sales department, men, who were VPs. There had been a couple of women, but one of them retired, and the other one got tired of the BS, and she quit. And I wanted to be promoted. When I was there, my sales production was way, way, way higher than some of the current VPs. And I couldn't get a reason why I wasn't being promoted. It kept getting dangled in front of my face. But at the end of the day, I couldn't get it. So in 2024, I had a record-breaking year. Record-breaking by any account. At the end of the year, I had my annual review, and I was told I got the highest annual review that was possible, that anyone in the sales department would get. Great. I thought 2025 is coming. My promotion is coming. I'm going to be a VP. I already picked out my office. I picked out what I was going to wear the first day. I picked out how I was going to decorate my office. I already had that in my head, right? It was so vivid. Then I found out last February 2025, that wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to get promoted. I was not getting promoted. By that point, I was like, what? Now what? You know, I've had this dangled in front of my face for all of these years. If you do this, if you do that, if you do this. I jumped through every single damn hoop. They weren't going to promote me, and that's when I realized it. If after all of that, I couldn't get promoted, it was impossible. For whatever reason, somebody made the decision I was not promotable. For the first time ever, I took a sick day when I wasn't sick. I've been working since I was 13, actually. I was doing part-time jobs in the summer and stuff. At 16, I've been working. When I went to college as an adult. I put myself through college. We didn't have the money when I was growing up to go to school. And I worked full-time as I put myself through college. Full-time and going to school full-time. It wasn't easy, but I did it. And all of the time, I never took a sick day unless I was really sick. But on the day that I found out that I was not being promoted with no reason given, I took a sick day. It was February of last year, 2025. And I was sick, all right. I was sick to my stomach. It was a dreary day. I sat into the family room in front of the fireplace. It was kind of chilly. I live outside of Pennsylvania. And I thought long and hard about my life. Meanwhile, my husband had been after me to leave my job for a few years because he saw I wasn't happy. And I finally made the decision, I'm going to leave. And let me tell you, that was not an easy decision to make. At that point, I was making multiple six figures. And I didn't want to walk away from that money. Too young to retire. At the end of the day, I liked working. I just didn't want to do this anymore. And I did not want another job somewhere else because in my mind, it was going to be the same BS, different day, different name on the building, different person signing my check, different job responsibilities, different managers, different whatever, same BS. Do you feel that way? Have you ever felt that way? Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling like your job is sucking the ever-living life out of you? Because I did. I felt that way. So I feel you. And that's why I feel like I might be able to possibly help you if you're feeling that way. Because I thought there was something wrong with me, quite frankly. I didn't know anyone else who had the kind of job I had, who was making the kind of money that I was making, who was willing to walk away from it. I thought I was a unicorn. I thought nobody could ever relate to that. It was embarrassing to admit to anyone but my husband and my best friend. And I had one friend at work who was my best friend at work. And that was where I was. But you know what? I'd finally had enough. That was my breaking point. Have you reached your breaking point yet? Are you close to reaching it? Have you already reached it and you don't know what you're going to do about it? That was me. So it took a while before I put in my notice, but I did make the decision that before the end of 2025, I was going to be out of there. Didn't know what I was going to do. I did not have a backup plan. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have anything. I wanted my own business. That's what I wanted. I had no skills. Because the one thing corporate America did not teach me was how to start my own job. They don't teach you that because they don't want anybody to know that. Meanwhile, I was seeing people and hearing about people making money online, and I thought, you know, it sounds good. I don't know how to do it. I don't have any tech skills. I don't know how to create a website. I don't know how to create a sales funnel. I didn't even know what the hell a sales funnel was. I don't know how to do automation. I have never, ever spoken on camera before, like where I was filming myself. I'd been on camera for different things, but I'd never, filmed myself. I'd certainly never had done any live things or anything like that. And I thought I need, if I was going to do it, I needed to find a program. What I called it was my online training program for dummies. My business training online 101. That's what I needed because I felt like I was a first class dummy. I needed something so beginner friendly. I was going to be walked through it step by step. One day I was scrolling on social media and I saw this woman. And first of all, I'm not a scroller. I'm not a scroller on social media. At this time, I really didn't have any social media accounts. I had a Facebook account, which everybody kind of has that. I had a YouTube account. My YouTube account was strictly for looking up how to fix a broken hinge on a door, how to get the black spots off of my roses, that kind of thing, how-to things. Did not have a TikTok account at all, so I had no social media following. But one day I was scrolling on social media, and this was after I left. I put in my notice on May 1st. I gave them a 2-month notice. I actually gave them a 1-month notice. They asked me to stay an extra month, which I did. My last day was June 30th. At that point, I still didn't have a backup plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. And people kept coming to me when they found out I was leaving. They thought I had shit for brains. They thought I was, something was wrong with me. Why the hell would you ever leave all of this without having something else to do? And I really didn't have an answer for that other than, well, I believe I'll find the perfect thing. And I believe in the law of attraction. I believe the universe has my back and everything happens for a reason, blah, blah, blah. So I put it out of my mind. On Monday, June 30th, last year was my last day. And the next day, my husband and I, we live outside of Philadelphia. So we went to the Jersey Shore. We went to a really nice resort that we love on the beach. And we were there for a few days. We came back on July 4th. The next day, July 5th, which was a Saturday, for the first time ever, I was scrolling on social media. And the only reason I happened to be scrolling then was because the night before, when we got home, we were sitting out in the backyard looking at the fireworks in the distance, and we were drinking champagne. And I had we both had a lot of champagne to drink. We were having fun. We were celebrating life. We were celebrating my independence. And so I was a little tired the next day, AKA hungover. That's why I was so scrolling on social media. And I found this woman talking about a business that she had. It was an online business. She was in her 50s. Her story was different. She and her husband had been looking down the road at retirement. They weren't ready to retire yet. They realized they did not nearly have enough money for retirement. Meanwhile, she had kids and grandkids. She was already working 2 jobs, one full-time, one part-time, and she did not want to work anymore. She wanted more time with her family. That was her. That was her motivation. My motivation was completely different. She found something that was super beginner friendly, and she was talking about it. And the more I listened to her, the more I thought, this is what I've been looking for. This is it. What she said was, it was step by step. It was a proven system. It had been around for a few years. It wasn't brand spanking new. There were, at that time, 50-some thousand people globally doing this. Today, there's over 60,000. This was like 10 months ago. She said that you needed no tech skills, that they would teach you every single thing. You did not need a social media following. And any sales that you would get, anytime you got a customer, you would be paid 100% of whatever they bought from you. And I was thinking, how is that even possible? Because I've been in sales my whole life. I've been in advertising sales for 20 years. I wasn't even making 10% commission. How can they afford to pay me 100%? How can they give you all of it? Because I would have what's called master resale rights. And I'm going to get into all that a little bit later on. I had my interest. So, and get this. It was designed so that my work could be done in 2 hours a day, 2 focused hours a day, not hours scrolling, which was okay because like I said, I wasn't a scroller anyway. But there were going to be like 3 things you're going to have to do in a day. It would take you about 2 hours to do them. After you've been doing them for a little bit, you could get it down in about an hour, 45 minutes or so. And that was it. Plus your training and everything. There were no monthly fees you had to pay. You pay once for the system. You invested into your the system itself. They would give me the products to sell, things I did not have to create myself. Whenever I got a new customer, I would get 100% of that. I would get it paid the same day because I would have my payment portal set up, my PayPal, Stripe, whatever. They would help me with that. I mean, they were going to help me with everything, absolutely everything. And I said, I want to know more about this. So what she said was, if you want more information, you need to go to my website to get the blueprint. So I'm going to tell you that now. If you want all of this information in writing, which I want you to have it, you absolutely need to have everything in writing. Go to my website. My website is listed in my bio, but it's Legacy, Legacy, 100%.com. It's 100, 100, and percent is spelled out, Percent. That is my personal website. So I went on to her website to look at everything, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was a lot of information there. They held nothing back. It was total transparency. One of the things I really appreciated about the information on the website was that it had some interviews with people who were doing this business, and it showed their names. It didn't, you didn't see any initial shit. There was no like JS from Texas. Like, who the hell is that? Their pictures weren't blurred out. You saw their faces. It showed their first name and their last name. So what did I do was I looked them up. I looked them up online. I looked them up on the internet because I figured if they had an online business and they said that they were making this, that, and the other, they should be fairly easy to find online. And I found them. And now here we are 10 months later, 10 and a half months later. I personally know a lot of these people. I'm friends with them. And this is the real thing. So it's called Legacy Builders. It was founded by a single mom. She had 6 kids and 5 grandkids. Her youngest kids were still living with her, and she lost her source of income. She was involved in direct marketing, one of those MLM things. And she had gotten to the point where she had a decent downline under her. They had a big conference call one day with the CFO, and they thought that they were going to get a big bonus because they had a huge year that year. Just the opposite happened. They changed the whole commission structure for them and said, the essence of, you're making too much money, so to reward you, we're going to cut your commissions down to, it was like next to nothing. It wasn't enough for her to continue to support her family anymore. She needed a job, a business where she could do from home because she still had her kids living at home. She found this business. And then she took it and she freaking ran with it. And then she recreated it, started her own community, which is now 60,000 people globally. This is in very high demand. She is now a multi-7-figure earner. The interesting thing about her name is Michelle. The interesting thing about Michelle is even though she is now making every year multiple 7 figures, she shows up every single day. She just recently started to take time off on the weekends, just recently. But other than that, she shows up every single day. She does live mentoring and training for everybody once a week. Every single training video that we have that you will have access to is pretty much done by her. There are a couple that aren't done by her. Some of the tech videos, she's not good in tech. She says that. She openly admits that. So she, one of her good friends, her name also happens to be Michelle. She is very, very strong in tech. So she does the tech training. But other than that, Michelle does everything. Not only that, but when she learns a new way of making money online that would go in hand with what the basic program is, she will check it out first. She will do it herself to see if she can do it and how easy it is to earn money. And then once she's proven to herself, yes, this is something that people should know, she adds it. She adds it to her training at no additional cost. So it started out when I first started this business. So what ended up happening? Let me just cut to the chase here. I went on to this woman's website and I looked through everything 2 times. And it was a lot of stuff. And I looked through all of it. I didn't miss a single word. And I Googled these people that I saw on there to make sure that they were real. That night, that was on Saturday night, July the 5th. I could hardly freaking sleep that night because I was so damn excited. I was excited. I finally found what I was looking for. The next morning, which was Sunday, I got up and the very first thing I did was I signed up. And I got the best program there was at the time. At that time, there were 4 options. I got the very best one. I thought about it. I thought, should I go to the top one right away or should I take a lower one? No, I was all in. I was all in. I got the best program that there was. So now, here we are 10 months later. I am still as happy as I was and as excited I was the very first day. This has transformed my life. And if you're looking for transformation, and that's what this is all about, if you're tired of being tired, if you're sick and tired of being worn out, stressed out, not having enough time with your family, how many hours a week are you working? You're probably working more than 40. And if you're only working 40 in the office, you know you're still working when you get home. You know you are. You're getting those text messages. You're getting those emails. You're constantly checking out. You might have people, clients living all over the country, and you're in one time zone, they're in another. I know I did. You know, the very last thing I did each morning before I went to bed was check my emails to see what I had to take care of. If there was anything that couldn't wait until the next morning. And the very first thing I did in the morning when I got up, while I was having my coffee was checking my emails then. Plus, I checked them. I mean, it was weekends, holidays, on vacation. I never went on vacation without my laptop. I worked during vacation. It's embarrassing to admit, but I did. Are you doing that? Are you sick and tired of doing that? Do you want more time with your family, but you are afraid to leave what you're doing? Let me tell you this. You don't even have to leave what you're doing. I did it the hard way. I left my job first after putting in a notice, and then I found this later. It didn't take much later. After my last day, this is how I knew the universe had my back. My last day was on a Monday. I found this on a Saturday. So it was how many days up? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days later. 5 days later, I found this. That's when I knew it happened. It was like it fell in my lap. And I'm still doing it. And I wouldn't still be doing it if it wasn't working for me. But what I recommend is if you're unsure, and if you really need that money and you don't have enough saved to just leave and then build it up later, keep your job. You can do this in 2 focused hours a day. Get your sales built up. Get on a roll so that you know what you're capable of doing. And then you'll get to the point where you're going to say, screw this shit. And you're going to put in your notice and your life is going to be totally transformed. But meanwhile, what I found was, it was kind of funny. When I put in my notice, and again, I put in a 1-month notice and they asked me to stay an extra month, so I did. It ended up being there 2 months. Just knowing that the end was in sight, just knowing that I had a clock down calendar. In fact, I really did have one on my phone. I was practically skipping down the hallway. People were thinking, damn, that girl is happy all of a sudden. Let me show you a few things here. I'm not going to get too much into all of the different plans we have. We have 5 different plans. I'm going to get a little bit into it. But what I want to show you are real life examples of what you can earn with 1 customer, 1 sale, selling our #1 best-selling product, making 100% commission, and you get paid it in the same day. I'm going to show you some examples. So I'm going to turn my screen around so that you can see it. I'm going to show it on my iPad here. And these numbers are going to be very surprising to you because they were, the first time I saw them, they were shocking to me. It's like, I can make this in 1 day, working 2 hours a day. Yeah, I can. Now, let me preface this. This is not get rich quick. You're not on your first day out going to be making these kinds of sales, likely, you know. It can happen quickly. There are a lot of people who get their first sale. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of allergies. There's a lot of pollen going on here, and I have the window open. But you can make your first sale in the first 7 days. We train you how to do that. But before you are making it consistently, it's the more you learn, the more you're going to earn. It's a matter like anything else. But it's possible. I'm showing you possibilities here. These aren't promises. I'm showing you possibilities. Like the old saying goes, you can join a gym. You can pay whatever the membership is. So if it's $100 a month, if it's $20 a month, whatever. By joining that gym, you're not going to get in shape. You got to then go to the gym. You got to do what you're supposed to do at the gym. The same thing with this. And I know that you would appreciate that because you are already doing what you need to do. So let me show you some examples of what real people are doing. Most of these are women, by the way. There's a few men in here, but most of them are women. Some of them I personally know at this point. And I'm going to show you what they're making and how I have this information. This is information that you'll have access to as well because I am part of the community. And in the community, it's 60,000 people globally. We're not in every country, but we're in most places. We have a little section there called Wins, where people can go on there and you'll be able to do this. I do it. You can go on there and you can post a win that you had. And you're not doing it, and they're not doing it to brag. They're doing it to show what's possible, especially for someone newer. When they first start, it might take them a little bit longer. And they're showing what they're doing because, hey, if I can do this, you can do this. That's all it is. There is so much positivity in our community. There is no drama. There is no competition. Definitely no politics. No negativity. It is so inviting and warm. And there are people that you're going to meet in the community and you're going to connect with. And you're going to feel like you could be best friends with them. And you may end up being best friends. I have people in the community now that I've been into for like 10 months that I feel are very, very, very good friends of mine. Very good friends of mine, as if they were my next door neighbor. And yet I've never met them in person. That's the kind of relationships, that's the kind of community we have. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to flip the camera around now and I'm going to show you some real stories of what people are making in this business. And I'm going to give you any kind of information I know about the person if I happen to know them, and let you see what that is right now. And here we go. Let me start with this. Okay, so this is Destiny Burrell. You can see her picture there. You see her first name and her last name. You can look her up online if you want to. Look what she did. Woot woot, another $1,400. What did she sell? Well, I know what she sold. This is our number one best-selling product. We have 5 different products. This is our number one best-selling. And I'm going to give you a brief introduction to what it is, along with the other programs we have. But she did that. 1 sale, 1 customer, 1 day, 100% profit, selling a number one best-selling product. Okay? I'm not saying that she did this her very first day. I'm not saying that she worked 2 hours and then this came in that exact same day. This could have come in, this customer, from somebody who'd been following her for a little while. I don't know. But all I know is this is what she made one day. All right? Next person. Priscilla. Priscilla, I am pretty sure, let me get this, there we go. I'm pretty sure that Priscilla lives in South Africa. We have a lot of people in South Africa. We have a lot of millionaires in South Africa, in South African rand. That's their money, which has a different value than our money. But let me tell you, these women are happy. So she had the same thing. Look at that. $1,400 in one day. She made 1 sale, 1 customer, our number one best-selling product. She got 100% of that. She did not have to share this with anybody. and neither will you. Anytime you get a sale, it doesn't matter if you get a $100 sale, if you get a $1,400 sale, you don't share any of it with the company. You don't share it with me. The only person you're going to share it with is your good old Uncle Sam if you live in the US of A. You're going to pay taxes on it at the end of the year. But other than that, it's all yours. Next, whoops, let me fix this here. There we go. Next, we have Kamala. Kamala in one day made $900. That is our number 2 best-selling product. Not everybody's making $1,400, but this is our second best-selling product. It used to be our number 1 best-selling product for almost 2 years until we got the newest one. Jennifer Ingram, she writes, so much gratitude, $600 on a Freedom Friday. $600. Tamara, here's another $1,400 person. Tamara Britt, my first $1,400 sale. Selling our number 1 product. She got it in one day, one sale, 100% profit. Kelly was doing laundry when a sale popped in for her, $600. You know, that's the beauty of an online business. When you have an online business, your business doesn't shut down when you're sleeping, when you're having dinner, when you're on vacation, when you're doing laundry like Kelly was. She was home doing laundry for her family. When you have an online business and you have a website, it runs 24/7. You will not believe the number of people who are getting sales while they're sleeping. I have. You get a sale, you wake up, and you saw that you had a sale that somebody bought, whatever, okay? Because the internet doesn't shut down. Mindy is a personal friend of mine. Mindy Judd. Mindy is a stay-at-home mom. She has 2 boys. One of them just finished 10th grade. The other just finished 7th grade. And they both play basketball. That's why she has that little basketball there. So what's the story behind this? Mindy was at one of her kids' basketball game. It happened to be a Sunday afternoon. And she went to the school, to the gym, to support her son, to support the team. She was there with other parents supporting their kids. She was not working, but she heard her phone go off. She heard a ding. That's your notification, by the way. She heard a ding on her phone, and she looked down, and she kind of laughed. She saw that she had a $1,400 sale to come in while she was at her son's game. That's why she put a little basketball there when she shared this. Do you think there were any other parents in that gym supporting their kids that were making $1,400 that day? Hell no. This is what is possible when you have your own business and it's the right business. This is what Jessie made, $4,000 in 16 days. So a little over half a month. 15 days is half a month. 16 days, half a month plus 1 day, she made $4,000. 100% profit. Christina Bell. Christina Bell is somebody else I know personally. Christina Bell is also a stay-at-home mom. She's got 3 boys. She lives in Tennessee. Here's an interesting story about Christina Bell. She wanted to, well, first of all, she went to school to be a nurse. And then after she got her nursing degree, she got pregnant with her first child. So she ended up deciding to be a stay-at-home mom. She spent all those, I don't know how much money a nursing degree is, but it's a hell of a lot of money. I know it's tens of thousands of dollars. She never even used it because she ended up having 3 kids, 3 boys. And she wanted to help her husband. He wanted her to stay home and take care of the kids, you know, and she was happy doing that. That's what she wanted as well. But meanwhile, he was working overtime and working all these hours, and she wanted to help contribute. She heard about this business, and she told her husband about it, and she said that she wanted to try it. And he said, I don't know, Christina, you know, to me, it sounds like it's a little fishy. I don't think that you should do that. I don't believe anybody can be making that kind of money online. And she let it go for a little bit, and she kept on watching other people talking about it and the videos that they were doing, and she did more research on it, and she came back to him, and she said, I really want to do it. She said, I really think I can do this. And he finally said, you know what, go ahead, but when you find out you don't make any money, I'm going to say I told you so. So I just want you to know that. That was a little over a year ago. She started this in January of 2025. And she's been killing it. Meanwhile, this just happened recently. She was digging through her purse for something, and her husband was with her, and she asked him, she said, can you hold my phone for me, please, while I'm looking for whatever it was. She was looking for her keys, whatever. And while he had her phone in his hand, the notification came in that she had a $1,400 sale. Now, meanwhile, she had many, many, many of these before, many of them. But this is the first time that he saw it with his own two eyes on her phone when the notification came in. That's why she has a laughing thing there, because, I mean, he thought it was not even real. She's now a six-figure earner. It didn't happen overnight. It did not happen overnight. She hit six figures in March, so 2 months ago. So 1 year and 2 months, she hit six figures, working 2 hours a day, taking care of her family. Here's one of our men doing this. We have quite a few men too. I work with women primarily. This is Daryl. Daryl has another interesting story. He was a tradesman. He went to trade school. He was very good at what he did. He was a supervisor at his trade job. He got Employee of the Month multiple times. He was there, I think, 13 years. One day he went into work and he found out that he lost his job. He ended up sleeping in his car at one point. And then he found another job. He wasn't making nearly enough money. He was so far behind. He was in debt. He had a wife and kids. They, at one point, were in a homeless shelter while he was sleeping in his car. This particular homeless shelter didn't allow men. And one day he was scrolling social media. He was working then, but he wasn't making enough money. And he saw this program. And what he said was profound. What he said was, when you have nothing, you have nothing left to lose. That's what he felt like. So he signed up. He got the money together. We had payment plans, by the way, for everything, but he signed up. He did go on a payment plan. After he got his first sale or two, he just paid everything off. So the rest was all profit for him. Look at what he made in one day. You won't believe how much he's made now. So what he did with that day, let me get this straight. There we go. What he did was he had two sales that day. Our number one best-selling product, which is $1,400. Our number two best-selling product, which is $900. And he got this in one day. He has now been doing this for 2 years. His 2-year anniversary was beginning of January, a few months ago. January 2026 was his 2-year anniversary. He has so far made over $700,000. He will hit 7 figures this year. 7 figures. This was a man who was living in his car. Okay? I'm going to turn the back to me. That's what's possible. That's the possibility. You've got to be excited about seeing that. And I know it's not always about the money. I know that. Because if it is about the money, and it's only about the money, I would have never left my job if it was just that. It's more than that. I wanted to be able to live my life again. I had slowly, over the years, became someone that now looking back on it, I don't even recognize. From the stress, from the anxiety, from crying in the car when my husband was taking me to the airport. We live about an hour away. I wasn't bawling, boo-hooing, but I was crying. I didn't want to fucking go. And he would drop me off at the curb at the Philadelphia airport. I'm standing there with my luggage. And as he's pulling away, I'm waving to him and I'm crying. And then I go in and I check in. And then once I, get inside the airport, I pull my shit together. I do what I have to do. I try not to think about that. Meanwhile, on my phone, I have a countdown clock with how many hours I'm going to be gone from home before I will see him again, before he will come and pick me back up. I have it. And I love going to sleep at night, because when I go to sleep at night and I wake up the next morning, I know that just like that, I'm 6 or 7 hours closer to coming home and seeing my husband, seeing my kitty cats. We don't have children. Seeing my friends, having my life back. Is that you? If it's you, it doesn't have to be. It was me. I understand what you're going through. If you're not happy, there are so many reasons it could be. If it's work related, I can't help you with personal relationships. But if it's work related, I understand that. So what is this about? I want you to get the information in writing. And to do that, you really need to go to my website and get the blueprint. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go to my website. You'll see it in my profile. I'm pretty sure it's clickable. So just click on that. And once you click on it, pop in your email address. You don't have to put in your name or your phone number or anything like that, just your email address. And immediately after, you're going to see a 5-minute video. It's from the founder, Michelle, who's going to give you a brief introduction to everything. And then once the video is over, she's going to tell you to go to your inbox. And when you go to your inbox, you're going to see an email from me. It's automated. That's part of the beauty of an online business. I have everything all automated. You will too. Your website's going to do all the work for you. That's why you can get your work done in 2 hours a day. It's because of the automation of your website. So you're going to see an email from me. It's going to say Pamela@legacy100%.com is where it's coming from, my address, my email address. The subject line will say, "Here is your blueprint." Click on it. Click on it and look at what you're going to see. I'm not going to sell your email address. We're not going to give it away. You're not going to get spammed with anything like that. We're just going to send you the information, okay? Click on it and look at the whole thing. Nothing will be left out. Absolutely nothing will be left out. You will know by the end, if you look at everything, whether this is for you or not. You will know. We have 5 different programs, 5 different options. The highest priced one is our most popular. That's the one that it is crazy. It's newer. We got it and it went live in October. It's $1,400. It's called the Bundle Pack. We're the only ones in the world that have this. What makes it so unique from the others, there's a lot of things, and I'm not going to get it here. You can see it when you get on there. But the biggest thing is that it's bilingual. It's in Spanish and English. And there are 500 million people in the world that speak Spanish. In the U.S. alone, there are 45 million people that speak Spanish at home, meaning that they speak English as well, but at home, their family speaks Spanish. That's their native language, and that's what they're more comfortable with. They have been asking to have Legacy Builders put into Spanish. It is a #1 best-selling product. You do not even need to know how to speak Spanish in order to offer it. I have it on my website. In fact, let me just show it to you really, really quick. And I'm going to show you why you don't need to know. Let me do this again. Here's my website. You can see that's me. That's my home page. You see up there, it says a little button, Watch in Spanish. When I click on that, just like that, my whole website is in Spanish. This is my landing page, but everything within inside of it is in Spanish too. Okay? We have videos in there. They're all in Spanish. To get back to English, you just click it back again. Not only that, but any of the emails that your Spanish-speaking customer, if they sign up for the Spanish version, all the emails they'll get will be in Spanish, and videos they see and all that kind of thing. This is amazing. This has transformed my life. It has. One thing that you're going to see in the blueprint, you're going to see a total of 13 live interviews that we just filmed recently. Our websites, we just revamped them. They're all about 2 months old. So these videos were recently filmed with people who are doing legacy builders from different parts of the world, different backgrounds, some men, some women, different ages. We have people as old as 80 doing it. The youngest I've seen is 17. I don't think we have any 80-year-old or 17-year-old people on any of the interviews, and you'll see their faces. It's not blurred. You can see their first name, their last name. They're going to tell you what their life was like before they started. Why did they start this business? What was it that made them want to start their own business? And then you're going to see what they're doing now. And their lives have been transformed the same way that mine has. That's what I have for you today. If you've been with me this long, I don't know how long I've been on here, maybe close to an hour or whatever, but I thank you for watching. I've been doing this it'll be 11 months in just a few days. On June 7th or 8th will be 11 months for me. I can tell you I wouldn't still be doing it if I wasn't happy and if it wasn't working for me. And I'm a new person. I'm back to the Pamela I used to be. I don't have this stress and anxiety. I'm not crying all the time now. In fact, my husband and I are going to the airport next Sunday, a week from today. We're leaving to go to Lisbon we're going to Lisbon, spending one night, and then the next day we are getting on a Regent cruise, and was transatlantic going back to Miami. And it's like 11 nights on the cruise ship. It's our favorite cruise line. And I'm going to be very happy about that. So anyway, I'm very happy. And I want you to get relief from what you're feeling. That's what I want for you. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope that this was useful information for you. And I hope to see you here again. Thanks again. Bye now.